It doesn't quite fit here the best. The other thing you could do is measure. I would keep it less than 7 inches for your back wall. So I'm gonna go with 6.5 inches here for my back wall. And then I'm going to go from there. That'll give me about 4 inches for the side wall. Another way to ensure that things are lining up is to line up your ruler with the edge of your paper and then do your measurement. So right now I can see that the ruler is nice and flush with the edge, and then I can go ahead and draw my vertical line here. I can make sure the ruler is nice and flush there. I can draw my horizontal line, and then again make sure it's nice and flush here at the top. So there's my back wall. I want to keep my vanishing point, so I'm going to put a dot here, remind myself it's a vanishing point, but I don't want to see my diagonal lines anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and erase those. Okay, so once you have your back wall drawn, you have your left wall, your right wall, your ceiling, your floor, it's time to start adding in different objects. And remember, you have some that are required. So the first one that's required is a door. So I'm actually going to draw this door a little bit different. I'm going to have my door on the floor because remember, this is a surreal room where things happen that maybe wouldn't happen in real life. So I'm going to have a door here, right here on the floor. And I'm going to go ahead. So I have my lines connecting to my vanishing point, and then I show where the top of my door is going to stop. And then remember, I want to create a door frame to make it feel like this is a door rather than a rug. So I go ahead and I'm using my vanishing point. I'm drawing my door frame around it, and then I go ahead and add my horizontal line here. And then I can erase where my lines are a little bit too long. So there's my door frame. Now, I'm going to actually have this door open because I want something unusual happening in it. So I can choose what angle I want this door to be open. So remember, it would connect here at the corner. This is where the door sits. And I can decide how long I want that to be. So think about it. If I shut the door, would it fit in that space? I could even measure it. And then I'm going to keep this parallel. So I'm going to bring this line down, and I'm going to add a line coming out here. And then remember, we have to use our vanishing point. So I can decide how wide I want my door to be, and I'm going to use that as my vanishing point, or my dimension line. So I can see I need to extend this just a little bit. And then I can go ahead and erase my lines that go past here. So now I have my door, and I wouldn't be able to see this part of the door frame. So I can go ahead and erase that. And then I could add my doorknob here, and I would be able to see a little bit of dimension on the door. So if I wanted to, I could go ahead and draw the dimension here, but then I would use my I'd want a vertical line, not my vanishing point, to finish where that door is at. So if you wanted to add a little bit more dimension to your door, you could do that by using some vertical lines, and you could show a little bit of that dimension going back in space towards the vanishing point. Okay, so there's my door. Now, I could have some fun with this and think about what could be something unusual coming out of this door. Well, maybe I'm actually going to have some water coming out of this area here, and maybe we'll see a fish coming up out of the door. So I could take and draw a fish here, and I'd want to think about what might be the parts of a fish. So I might want to see some fins, want to see the big eye with the eye within it, maybe even start to see the tail kind of peeking up out of the water, and then I could show where the rings of the water, where it's jumping out of the water, and show those going out. And I could hide some of the door frame that maybe you wouldn't see with the water. And it'll make more sense too once I color this and start adding color. But there, I've created a surreal feature to my room. Another thing that I need to have in my room is a window. So that's something to think about. Where do you want to place the window? You could make it realistic and put it on the side walls, or you could even have it on the ceiling. So to keep, maybe I'll go ahead and do this one on the side, keep it a little bit more realistic. And you could add several windows. It wouldn't necessarily have to be just one window. So I can decide how tall I want this window to be. Windows are a great place to bring in your collage images. So remember, you have to have, I think it's 3 images that you find from a magazine, and you need to integrate those into the room in an interesting way. So what you could do is cut out the space within the window and put a magazine picture behind there, or behind your back wall here, and that could create a very surreal feeling to the room. So maybe you look out a window on this wall and it's summer, and you look out a window on the other wall and it's winter. Or maybe you look out the window on this side and you see the moon, and you look out the window on the other side and you see the desert. So you could have some fun with that as well. You could also have things coming in through the window or leaving through the window. So that's another area where you can have your surreal details. Again, you're going to connect your corners to find the center of the window. Because again, I wanted to have some window panes. You saw that I drew the window frame the way that we practiced. And then I can add my pane, connecting it to my vanishing point, going through that point of intersection there. And here I can add my vertical line running through that point of intersection. And then I go ahead and I erase my diagonal lines. Now I have a nice window in perspective. And maybe I want to have this be a broken window. So maybe I'm going to draw that it's shattered here with a crack coming up, with broken glass falling from it as a snake. Oops. Comes in through the window. And I could take my time to make that look a little bit neater. So think about how you can bring some fun elements in through there. You do have to have a pattern. So maybe I want to create my tile on the ceiling. So I could take, and for this, I'm going to go ahead and measure every ½ inch. I'm going to do some wooden floorboards, I think. And then I go ahead and line it up with my vanishing point, line it up with the mark. And I'm going to do that all the way across my ceiling. To create a unique texture or pattern as part of my room. So there I have stripes, and then remember when you create, like if I wanted to do floorboards, I could add some lines every few. Remember, you want to keep them nice and horizontal. So I could add some, kind of going every other one. Oh, I added them to the wrong ones. That would be a really short floorboard. So I got a little off there. Okay, then I could add some going this way. So again, we want to add lots of detail and just be thinking about how you want to fit those floorboards in space. And you could even add some floor or wood grain texture to help sell this as your floor being on the ceiling. So have fun as you work with your one-point perspective room and your surreal room. Be creative about it. Make sure you're adding lots of fun details. And don't forget to add some different furniture and things in perspective as well. So maybe it's adding a bookcase, or maybe it's adding a chair. Try to add some details to it that help to really sell the room as a dimensional space.